What we need to do here is we need to pack everything together. We need to put agents, skills, instructions, prompts, hooks, all the primitives, and we need to give the people the freedom to combine them as they want.
Welcome to Stack Sessions, the podcast where software engineering meets business strategy. I'm your host, Jeff Keyes. Today, I'm really excited to be joined by Sergio Sisternes. Sergio, welcome to Stack Sessions.
Hi, Jeff. Thank you for having me.
Sergio, you do a lot of really cool stuff, and you get to work with architects. You're leading Microsoft Azure for UK and Ireland out at EPAM. Give us a little more about your background and the kinds of things that you're doing.
Yeah, so long story short, as you said, I'm part of the Microsoft Business Group in EPAM, leading teams of architects and engineers on all the latest and greatest on cloud and AI. My background is software engineering, so I'm a software engineer and architect by trade. So yeah, I've been building software for many, many years in my career, mostly always in consultancy companies.
One of the things you work on is you also contribute to the open source agent package manager. Give a little more background on that.
Yeah, it's a very interesting problem space because I think like many of the people that right now is trying to build agents, especially coding agents with GitHub Copilot, Cloud Code, whatever. Yeah. There's a very interesting problem space, which is how we those cool skills agents that we are building, how can we make them reusable? How can we actually distribute them, version them? How can we bring package management capabilities to agents? Because I found the same problem all the time. That's cool, but I have to copy paste and then I'm changing it elsewhere. And I was thinking, yeah, I solved this problem in the past. Package managers did in the past. So this is how I found APM, which is a Microsoft open source project, and jumped into it and started contributing.
That's so cool. Well, let's dive into this just as a bit more. Now that you're in what you're doing, what kinds of things are you doing as you're working with architects and so forth, and what kind of problems are you solving?
So right now, I'm focusing more and more in the agentic SDLC space, which basically means is try to help organizations from a technical perspective to think what are the technology foundations that they have to have in place to enable agentic SDLC in the organizations. Try to think how this aligns this to the AI-native processes that they should be having to have in place to achieve their agentic SDLC objectives. And then help the teams that are going to do the enablement to scale the technology models and the architecture that we're defining for agents, so we can scale it through organizations. So we big rollouts of agentic SDLC for accounts here.
If you're not dealing, to the audience, if you're not dealing with the impact of what does AI SDLC, you're probably missing something because it's impacting everything. We're going to unpack this, and I'm really excited about it. What AI SDLC, when people are realizing that they need to make some changes, what are some of the fundamental problems that they're running into as part of this process? And let's sort of go through this journey.
GitHub Copilot right now, I think, is in year 5 now. So it's been a while since Copilot has been around the market, if I'm not wrong. Mm-hmm. So I think from the early stages, it started like a chat that you had one side of your IDE was just giving you some text. It evolved to more complex edit capabilities in files, and now we have the agentic capabilities. So the challenges that we're seeing in clients right now is, first of all, and especially since 1st of July that the billing model changed, right? And we are not charged by tokens.
Yeah. We're going to unpack that one too. It's coming.
Coming. Okay, so I won't spoil that there, but this is how we can optimize the spending, right?
Yeah.
How we can create good skills? How can I start making agents to behaving more and more in the ways that I want? Because obviously when you get an LLM model out of the box, it comes with the generic ways of working. But every organization wants to tailor that behavior to the specific tools, technologies, ways of working that each organization has. So it's how can we adapt, or how can we create custom agent skills, prompts, and agent loops to start behaving more in the way that the clients want? And this is customization where a lot of work and thinking is needed.
I love it. What kinds of problems do they face as they're tailoring these? Like what when you go through an engagement and you're like, okay, here's an SDLC, what kind of problems do you typically face as they're tailoring these?
So, for instance, you imagine that you have a specific way of doing the task management, right? So, you are your organization, you can be using Jira, Azure DevOps, you can be using GitHub Issues, and you have a very specific flow in each of the tools, right? So, maybe you have in Jira, you have a specific methodology that says you have to create an issue in this state when you start working, and then when you have to put the description, then you need to put it in the ready to review. You have very specific flows that an agent should be doing. Obviously, the agent it don't have the instructions, the skills to say this is how you should be working, right? The agent won't follow that. Every time we will try to figure out what it needs to do, burning tokens, and most probably 9 out of 10 times won't get it right because it's guessing every time what the agent needs to do to work in that way. So we're helping organizations to think, okay, let's start building packages that contains your specific knowledge and capabilities, and then start making combination of smaller packages to give the agents all the tools that they need to behave in the way that you want.
And so people that are trying to do this by themselves, what kind of advice do you have for them to help set this up? Like as you face these problems, what's your, okay, I see these problems, you've got to tailor these workflows, you need different packages, you need to give more context so that the agents know what to do. What are the 5 things that now you've got to kind of walk these people through?
So I think the first and the most important one is you have to have your knowledge documented in some shape or form. And this is something really common that is happening to me with every single client and engagement I'm having, which is you go there and there's some, let's say, implicit knowledge that people learns by telling others. So a person teaches you something and then you learn it and then you teach someone else to do that. It becomes like your culture, your ways of working, but it's not really explicitly documented. And the problem is in the very moment that you have to build that kind of skill or instruction for an agent, either or you have already documented or you have to do a brain dump in a prompt so the agent can start picking up your brain. So you get ready to start documenting what you have in your brain so you can start shaping that behavior for future agents. Then you can start exploring Copilot plugins, Cloud plugins. They, as a starting as a foundation piece of work, it works really well. What you want to do is, in the short, medium term, is also start thinking on more complex package configurations. So is start thinking as you do software. Start thinking more small modules that I test and I validate, and then you start compounding. Okay. This goes really fast. As an APM, we implemented dependency trees. So we consolidate all your dependencies into an installation. So you can create really complex dependency trees and get very complex package behaviors deployed into Copilot, Cursor, Cloud, whatever. Start thinking in that angle is how you can create simple behaviors to combine them and create more complex ones. Another common problem is versioning. So you got something, it's working, fine. But then you start creating more and more versions as we do with software. You have to introduce versioning and source control, release notes. You need to start treating your agent definitions or your agent primitives like proper software, right? Which leads us to the 4th point, which is start introducing CI/CD, builds, validations. Is software. Agent definition is software, so you need to treat it as software. Right?
Yeah,
And
all the.
then, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Keep going.
No, and the fifth one is start building more and more, let's say, documentation and creating flows where agents start documenting themselves. So start having more and more knowledge of your organization and your agents, so you can start having automatic feedback loops, and agents can start auto improving themselves.
What a concept that all the same practices that we learned way back when I first read continuous delivery way back when still apply even in this world. What are you finding are benefits of going through this? Like, I know every team is going to have to go document a whole bunch of things. There's formats that they're going to do as they do that, implement versioning and do all the standard practices. But once they do this, what kind of success patterns are you seeing and benefits out of doing it?
So the benefits, for instance, is when you start packing and you start creating, let's say, this kind of repositories, you can start scaling your knowledge across the organization. So each team stops figuring things out on themselves. They can actually say, oh, that's cool, I can reuse that. Oh, there's a gap here, I'm going to contribute that missing piece to a wider puzzle. And you can start introducing all the collaboration patterns and capabilities that we have in open source or inner source into this. You can also start introducing things like the provenance. So which skills have we installed where, which version, and track down if you are installing an external skill, which is really common today from the internet. I see people all the time going to GitHub and I'm going to install this package from GitHub. That's really dangerous because there's a more and more hackers are pushing out .g GitHub actions, .g prompts, because they know that developers have high privileged credentials. So you really want to know where is people installing packages or skills, and then be able to track down that, okay, which package do we have across the organization? And most importantly, with APM, you can deploy policies. You can lock down from which organizations can teams deploy skills or packages. So if you are an org admin or a security engineer, you can configure APM policies and say, okay, you can only download skills from these organizations. That's it. So you can lock down and protect your organization from external threats, which right now we are seeing is an increased concern, an increased problem.
Wow. On that note, what are companies doing to make sure that it's locked down, or that packages, if they're just now implementing a lockdown, what are they doing to verify that existing packages are also clean?
That's a big problem. That's a big problem space right now, because Cloud is starting to introduce the marketplace or the plugin, sorry. GitHub is doing the same. Both are starting to introducing ways to lock down from which organizations you can install. But right now there's a problem space, which is you can't run a scanner out of the box. What we've done in APM is we've integrated or we created an option to plug in any external, let's say, agent skills scanner. What we are doing is we have given integration points, so you can run either APM audit and check the content of a package with these external scanners, or you can, by policy again, you can force in to do APM install and execute this scanner every single time that a package is going to be installed in a device. So before getting anything installed into your device, it runs like an antivirus, is scanning what's coming in. We are not building the scanner itself. We are relying on the community to actually provide those scanning capabilities. And the first integration that we've done is being with an open source project for NVIDIA called Skill Spectre, which in the end is this kind of capability that gives you a report of the threats that it finds inside the package.
Which is, that's a long-standing practice to do, and it's funny now that all of a sudden, hey, you have a whole new threat surface to evaluate, and go do it. If you haven't heard enough from Sergio on why you need to proactively attack how your AI SDLC is being managed. You just heard it. There's cost, there's tokens, there's time, reusability across teams. I'm hearing all sorts of things that are gotchas in the process. AI is great because once it has a goal, it'll go figure out a way, whatever the target is, but it may not be the right way. And I love the premise that you're putting here. It's like a little bit of upfront work. It's going to save you a lot of money, time, and effort, and then you can proactively manage it. Let's get to like the really fun topic. Manage your tokens before they manage you. I'll just leave it there. That's a topic you're really passionate about, I know.
Yes, yes, it's a really hot topic, and yeah,
Well,
when
what's changed there? I mean, why? I know there's a bunch of things, but if I don't know what time frame, who are listeners, this will be recorded, and so they'll listen to this. But right now, there's been some recent changes. Talk about
yes,
what's changing and how this is here.
yes, so we are seeing a general shift in the let's say AI space in general. We're seeing GitHub moving to token-based billing, which means rather than charge you for premium requests, they are charging you by the actual tokens that you're consuming, AI credits. We've seen an Anthropic doing the same with Claude, when in the enterprise subscriptions you start paying by tokens. Microsoft switching co-work to tokens. So obviously, as the AI capabilities grew and we moved from simple ask questions to full agentic workflows that can be self-sustained for hours and hours and hours, right? Or maybe even days. And the I pay 4 pence for a premium request and I consume 2 billion tokens, right? Business. Obviously for us was a very good business, but yeah, it wasn't for Microsoft, and we were using basically a billing model that was designed for 5 years ago, right? And we start seeing the industry that is shifting to this kind of billing models. So not all the players right now are at the same point. I think Codex and Google, OpenAI and Google still are giving a bit more allowances and they say or subsidies to people, but at some point I think everyone will be converging in the token invoicing model, and it requires start thinking how you optimize your spending.
Yeah, I feel like someone on the executive side just went, "Oh crap, we're spending how much?" And they, without an ability to really manage it or predict it, and they're only seeing it's not decreasing. That's for sure. It's on a solid ramp, both in adoption, usage, and value that it's bringing. I've heard things as simple as there's just mandates on limits, and we're going to put spending limits in place, and that's it. But you're doing this with clients now. Where do people start in trying to get their arms around this?
Yeah, so I think that's the general message that, or this general action I'm seeing everywhere, is to start putting limits to everyone in terms of how much tokens do you have, but also which models do you have access. I think the general message that I'm sharing with clients and in community events when I'm presenting about this topic is obviously tokens are only token consumption or token usage is only going to go in one way over time, which is up, for a very simple reason. We are going to keep creating more and more and more complex agent behavior because it's the whole point. We are creating more complex automations to try to take as much, let's say, low value work as we can from engineers and business users and focus that time in what really has a lot of value, which is thinking, is designing, is validating, is the things that we can't really, let's say, leverage AI today. So, and then there's the token cost. Obviously today, cost it went, sorry, massively high because from premium request model to token model, yeah, cost basically not skyrocketed, but is significantly higher than before. But over time, yeah, cost will tend to stabilize and even go down because you will have open source weight models, you will have local models, and they will get better. And then as we get better compute, obviously cloud vendors will start reducing the price as well. So yeah, there's there's a chance that in the near future, this will be more and more, let's say, affordable. But right now, today, the best thing that you can do, apart from putting some budget limits and etc., is start thinking on optimizing your agents.
Yeah, for sure. Optimize, which comes back to see prior conversation about do some upfront thinking about managing this. Otherwise, it's going to manage you, and then you'll have limits, and then I don't know. It feels like when you start to put caps, I think you said this actually, you kind of lose the whole point of AI. How do you reframe the usage of AI and where this is going for the executive team and how they should approach this?
In the end, we need to think, what are the strategic objectives that we want to achieve? We want to deliver faster software. We want to reduce technical debt. What is the actually we want to achieve with AI? And then start thinking on the two main levers that you have today to optimize the spending, which basically is, first of all, every single token that you put in your context, you are paying into it. And we can go into more technical detail, but oversimplifying it is every time that you do an interaction, so you put something in an agent, regardless of the platform, it has a thinking effort. Each thinking effort is a turn. So in an interaction, you can have 10, 15 turns. Every single time that you are in a turn, you are getting billed for every single token that you've put into the context that's coming from agents, skills, instructions, prompts, MCP servers. All that goes to the context, and you pay it either because it's fresh input or because it is cached, and you pay cached input from the cloud vendors. And what's happening right now is we are creating massive skills instructions files without any consideration, any optimization. We are putting that into the context. Times engineers, times skills, times days, times number of days in the year. And there's a lot of wasted money that is going into unoptimized agent skills instruction prompts. And I've seen a lot of people around, we can use Caveman, we can use RKT, we can use a lot of things that try to pull down the context. But the best optimization that you can do is really think and apply the design best practices that you should be applying to your agent packages. And start making sure that team is aware of those best practices and scale the practices across your organization.
That is great advice. What's from that executive point of view, are there particular AI numbers or productivity numbers that you think leaders are reading backwards? And what kinds of things should they really be measuring? I mean, you talked about throughput, velocity.
So what I see a lot is metrics like lines of code, pull request accepted, volume metrics, right? Which means if we are producing more code, it means that we are going faster.
Right. Yay! We get to measure another meaningless metric.
That my general yes.
It was kind of funny. I still remember being at a conference. I won't say where because I'm still appalled, but the value metric of AI was to look at a developer, look at the number of lines of code they produce, look at their salary, and then look at after AI, how many lines of code they produced, and therefore the delta gave you a value of AI because, lines of code equal value somehow. I'm just mind blown.
It's because those are hard metrics that are easy to capture, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's really tempting to say lines of code productivity, but I try to give clients the advice to focus on 4 kind of core groups of metrics, which is the speed of business value delivery. So it's lead and cycle time, basically, right? So how fast is your lead and cycle time going? Okay. Then the second group is standard adherence and code quality, which is, are the agents introducing more bugs? Are the agents adhering to our coding standards? do we have to intervene a lot during PRs to ask agents to do rework, which is signaling that something is not right in the agent skills and props, and we need to fine tune because we are wasting tokens in rework and we are wasting human hours. So we want agents to work accurately at first, and then what is your deployment velocity? How fast can you go from a ready to go code to production? Because if you have a really, let's say, good machine that produces requirements, but you still need to go through 3 months of UATs, manual UATs to go to production, you will have a big funnel of ready to ship features. So if you think of metrics on those 4 groups, it's really, I think clients can really start seeing the value, because you will say, okay, now rather than weeks, we are building and we're getting features ready in days. Now, yes, we can see that we have better quality adherence, or we have more documentation, we have more code coverage, we have more time to produce better software with better quality, right? We have less defects when we are deploying to production. Our defect escape rate is going down, right? And so it's really key, which is indeed what we want to do. We want to do more with less, right?
I can already tell, Sergio, that we're going to have to do a whole follow-on session on those 4 things and what to do about it, because that's the goal.
Yeah.
So looking forward to it. Well, let's move on to governing and packaging. You know, you say the core problem in this space is that copying and pasting agent configs from repo to repo is killing us. So walk through a bit more of that. I know we touched on it, but let's really deep dive here.
So the problem in this space, as I was saying, is we started to creating skills, and we copy paste skills, and the whole community started to focus in, we can create skills now, which is a really cool thing, and everyone is creating skills and supporting them. But then, first of all, you started copy pasting, and it was a big nightmare. Then both GitHub and Anthropic introduced the ability to create skills, and there were other projects like NPX skills that allow you to install skills. But agents are much more than skills, because you can start having a group of agents that are like a loop that takes a requirement and do front-end, back-end unit testing documentation in one go. And what you do is you review that work from different lenses with different skill sets with humans, right? And that was not initially supported by any platform or by any, let's say, all the community was focused on skills. So APM said, look, what we need to do here is we need to pack everything together. We need to put agents, skills, instructions, prompts, hooks, all the primitives, and we need to give the people the freedom to combine them as they want. Create dependencies, this package depends on this other, add the MCP configuration, so we don't have to add the configuration manually, etc., etc., etc. So we try to give people the ability to create really complex behaviors for simple building blocks. So you create a skill that knows how to work with Jira, you validate, you have that. Then you create a skill or an agent that is proficient in your front-end architecture because you have specific technologies and patterns. That's good. You start creating those Lego bricks and you start combining them. And then you put them available through a marketplace to your organization, which is really important.
And how do people go about evaluating things they find that are in these agent packages and knowing what's good and so forth? I mean, it feels like we're answering the same question that's been answered a million times over from other worlds, but what's different in this world?
Yeah, so as a consumer, evaluating what a package do for you is basically a matter of, that's a cool package, you install it, you start using it, say, actually, that's what I need, but that's not good, and then you ditch it and you start exploring others. What is more challenging is, how do you make sure, as producer of the package do what you want? What is the evaluation of complex behaviors beyond the pure prompt, because evaluations initially were designed under the AI principles of responsibility or responsible AI. I'm going to stop it for a second. So, because on the responsible AI principles, you wanted to evaluate that if you give an input to an agent, on an LLM, sorry, you got the right text back. But with complex agents and packages, you want to evaluate much more than only the prompt. You want to evaluate which skills is loading, which instructions is using, which files is changing, is following the standards. So testing all that and making sure that you can get a meaningful score is a big problem space right now that is still, I think, in the infancy of the problem statement, and requires, I think, a bit of community effort in that direction.
Sure. Well, and ultimately the community is going to rate and score, and you're going to watch for these things. People are going to there's models here that have been done in the industry for a while. I love how you're retaking the same kind of patterns and mental models and applying them to AI native. And so I feel like there's a whole other session we should do just about supply chain. Because this is the new Wild West, right? Here we go.
Is the new Wild West, and is right now is let's say, hackers know that they are starting putting really cool stuff outside. You start putting OpenClaw to download anything OpenClaw wants from the wild. OpenClaw has access to all your credentials. So yeah, the supply chain is and should be a major concern for any organization that is adopting enterprise agentic SDLC at scale right now. Absolutely.
For sure. Let me move on to the AI native SDLC. For a consultancy, modernizing really is the end game. When you think through this journey for a typical organization, can you talk about the common pitfalls as they're modernizing and some of the things that I know we talked about some of the package and so forth and setting this up, but hit on some more of these things that when they think about up-leveling this beyond just engineering, how does this fit with product? How does this fit with test? How does this fit with even the analysis? And I'll give you more here, right? Hey, we talked about it. It's great that you got this delivered. Now it's going to go into integration, UAT, and staging. How are you fixing that problem?
And most importantly as well, and this goes back again to software engineering principles and product management principles, right? What is the business value of what you are modernizing? You really need to modernize everything. Have you performed an analysis of your application portfolio? Have you identified where the value is? What is the modernization sequence? And then from there, start planning that, because in the end, AI is helping you to accelerate the modernization, but you still need to identify where the business value as product or as software solutions for your business have. Do that analysis upfront, and then very, very important, start extracting all the business requirements that your system has. And this is where business requirements play a vital role when you are reverse engineering the system, because from requirements you get all the business logic, the rules, all that you need to rebuild in an AI native or on a cloud native way. And from there you can then plug into an AI native SDLC factory, and then you can start delivering that. And for me, it's like you start using packages, start creating your small building blocks, the building, the testing. But then you have to have two key packages or building blocks there. The requirements, reverse engineer that goes to your code and extract requirements, and then with a lot of human effort, because you can automate reverse engineering as much with AI can help, but you have to put a lot of effort upfront on requirements. You get very good requirements and very good specifications. And then at the end, you build your, let's say, regression loop. So this is what came out of the implementation, how this links back to the original requirement specifications. Have we made something changed because it had to change because we found out that it's changing. So yeah, it's start planning where's the business value, prioritize, and then start designing your end-to-end process with regression embedded in it.
Fantastic. I'm assuming you have written a fair bit on this. You've got a number of things. What are some other insights that you've been writing about lately, and what's been popular?
So lately, I'm focusing a lot on agentic SDLC, on it's not and trying to balance the conversation between AI is going to replace engineers and nothing is going to change. So you see me lately a very, very active in the community and the blog posting, trying to show, look, this is the reality of AI. This is what is happening to us. So it's in the end, we need to see AI like a smart automation capability. It is from a mathematical perspective, an LLM is only calculating what are the next most probable tokens. So it's able way faster than us to go through a lot of different paths and find the most probable paths for the questions or the words that we are putting. But in the end, it's not a reasoning machine yet. So it's the differentiation between causality and correlation, right? LLMs are correlation machines. We humans are very good and we excel at causation, which are two different things. And I wrote I think was one of my latest posts in my blog, talk about that. There's this meme on the internet where there's a cat sitting on top of a parking lot, right? And basically it's broken. And then I always, and the memes reads, causality is not correlation or something like this. And it's like, yeah, exactly. So an AI can easily see the image and correlate that the cat sat on top of the parking lot that broke it. But you know that simply it climbed up and sit there, right?
Right.
And that's very different. And for me, that's what the most interesting topic is, how our world is going to change because of AI.
Wow. I love your thinking, and I love how deeply you've gotten into this, bringing the engineering mindset to help clarify the direction where things will go and kinds of advice that we should do. Just to reiterate, summarize some of the key things that people should take away, especially leadership, from this conversation that they should think about when it comes to their AI SDLC.
So, yeah, obviously start optimizing your spending. First of all, review the skills and prompts that your teams are using and kick off initiatives to review your spending. A Center of Excellence for AI SDLC can help you in that conversation. Start packing those learnings in reusable packages. Start putting governance and security and audit on top of it, because it's going to be one of your biggest attack surfaces right now. See AI like a smart automation capability. Is not going to replace your engineers. It's going to transform how internally processes work, but people will be still very needed in the process. And if I had to add something that we haven't discussed, we should keep investing in bringing in junior people into the engineering roles. I see a lot lately that companies are stop hiring juniors.
Yep.
That's really dangerous, because at some point, I think you and I, Jeff, we want to retire sooner than later, right? And then yeah, we will need people that can carry on with software engineering, and they will be, I think, still pretty needed in the near future. So we need to have new generations of engineers that learn the AI native ways of building software, and then continue the legacy of all the software engineers that have been building this world for many, many years.
Great advice. Sergio, this has been like really, really cool and interesting. How do people follow you and get in touch, and where's your blog?
So yeah, I have my blog post on Medium. You can search me in Medium as Sergio. I think we can share this somewhere. So yeah, I have my own domain, sergiospla.net, and then you can find me on LinkedIn as well. So yeah, with the same link.
Fantastic. Thank you for spending time. Like I said, I can already tell we need to do this again and double click on the other topic there. But my name is Jeff Keyes. Sergio, thank you for being here. And until next time, we'll catch you on Stack Sessions.
Thank you, Jeff. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.